Look down at your next salad. Before your fork shatters the crisp surface of a leaf, you need to understand something. The organism on your plate actively registered the exact moment it was killed. For centuries, Western biology classified plants as passive biological machines. They were treated as deaf, mute automata that simply reacted to sunlight and water. The logic went like this. Because a plant doesn't have a central nervous system, a brain, or vocal cords, it couldn't possibly possess an awareness of violence. But the silence of a torn spinach leaf doesn't mean it didn't suffer. It just means human ears aren't tuned to the frequency of its distress. Researchers have discovered that plants have an incredibly precise sense of touch. They can actually detect the exact vibration frequency of a caterpillar's mandibles chewing through their tissue. They process this mechanical data in real time. A plant easily filters out the chaotic, random vibrations of a rainstorm or heavy wind, but it instantly recognizes the rhythmic crunch of a predator's bite. That sensory threshold applies to human agriculture too. A vegetable detects the unique mechanical shockwave of a farmer's shear or a chef's knife severing its stem. The greens in your bowl actively registered the mechanical violence of their own harvest. They knew they were being dismembered. Forester and author Peter Wohlleben has documented exactly how these organisms react when that violence occurs. The instant a leaf is bitten, its internal fibers fire off an electrical distress signal. It's a slow burn compared to human nerves, traveling at a measured pace of exactly 1 centimeter per minute. As that signal spreads, the plant initiates a localized defense. It actively pumps bitter, targeted chemical toxins directly into the leaves that are currently under attack. It isn't waiting patiently to be eaten. It is engaging in live combat, desperately trying to poison its attacker in real time. But the defense mechanism extends beyond the plant's own body. A wounded plant releases volatile organic compounds, essentially a chemical scream, into the surrounding air. We can see this vividly on the African savanna, when a hungry giraffe starts tearing leaves off an umbrella acacia tree. Within minutes, the acacia emits a warning cloud of ethylene gas. The wind carries this airborne distress signal across the landscape. Nearby trees detect the gas, immediately pumping their leaves with toxic defenses before the giraffe reaches them. This defines the forest and the garden as a coordinating defensive superorganism. When you taste bitterness in certain greens, you are tasting the final, desperate chemical defenses of a being that fought back. Despite complex defensive networks, strict Western biology often dismisses these chemical cascades as unconscious, mechanical reflexes, treating them like a thermostat reacting to a cold draft. But botanist and author Dr. Robin Wall-Kimmerer highlights a different scientific lens. For her and many indigenous cultures, plants are aware beings, long regarded as humanity's oldest teachers. Indigenous communities understood this dense communicative network for thousands of years. They recognized this awareness long before anyone built a microscope or ran a chemical analysis. Looking at a highly coordinated, communicating organism and labeling it an unfeeling machine reveals a narrow scientific bias. It limits the definition of intelligence strictly to creatures that happen to have animal brains. This brings us to a harsh, unavoidable biological reality. To sustain human life, we must consume organisms that actively, desperately fight to stay alive. To navigate this daily violence, the Potawatomi practice an ethical framework known as the honorable harvest. The honorable harvest is a strict set of rules for interacting with the natural world. Never take the first you see, and never take the last. Take only what is freely given, take only what you need, and always ask permission before taking a life. Now, look back at your dinner plate. Think about navigating a brightly lit grocery store aisle and trying to reconcile those ancient, respectful guidelines with modern industrial farming. Without that permission, your dinner becomes something else. You are digesting an organism that registered the knife, sent out its warning, and felt itself being consumed.